Hello, one and all, and welcome to this month's Common Briefing Program. We are part of the Common Geeking Program podcast, where each month we recap the hottest headlines in geek news. Are you, Jeff? Are you lip syncing me or a song? What is happening? Okay, Jeff is lip syncing me, and with the latency, it's very distracting. So we are going to be here recapping the month of October 2019. I have to cover this part of my screen. I can't do this. We're going to be recapping the month of October 2019's geek news, keeping you up to date on the things that we think are the most important and impactful to geeks around the world. My name is Colin Ketchen. I'm your host and your chief anchor of this reputable news program. I'm joined this month by two returning correspondents. Austin, Jeff.
Yeah. Hello, it's me, Austin. I've been out in the field doing lots of difficult, hard-hitting journalistic work this past month. Totally. Yeah.
The way you said hello was only half the tone. The other half was how lackadaisically you threw your arms up, and the world will never know what you really meant to communicate. Jeff.
Hi, yeah, I'm Jeff, and as usual, to contrast Austin's hard-hitting investigative work, I've put in very little effort at all. You know, I just feel we should bring the broad range of spectrum of effort into this podcast.
Is that how journalism works?
To learn.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just really excited to learn from Jeff what the fuck is going on with that Unicron toy.
Yeah, so we have Jocelyn with sports, but no sports this month. Jeff with Unicron, and Austin with actual journalism.
Kind of. We'll see.
Austin usually brings the shit crazy stuff.
He does. But I mean, aren't those the stories that really make you want to actually read the news? Like, we don't want to read transcripts of C-SPAN. We want to figure out who threw shit across Congress.
Well, I gotta tell you, the shit crazy real news is not really what I'm coming here for.
That's true. All right. Okay, before we jump in, we're recording a little later in the evening. Might just be later to me because my schedule has changed, so I wake up earlier now. But I'm feeling a little relaxed this evening. I've had a good night. I came home, took a nap, and made some dinner. What are you guys up to?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're just gonna smooth jazz this one. Go real nice and relaxed. Put on our relaxation voices.
Yeah,
Austin, do you still have a saxophone?
I don't have it in Buffalo. I just have the clarinet and the ukulele.
But if you did, could you play it whenever you're not speaking, like just in the background when Colin and I are talking, and then every time you start talking, you'll be like, yeah. It would be a real break from the action. But...
That was disgusting.
That would be a choice. It might be something worth thinking about.
It's the avant-garde
and a different time. Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing things. I don't know. It's chill here.
You know what? That's good. And with that chill vibe, let's roll into some chill news. I'm going to go first again this week. I've been being very generous in terms of whom I let go first in this podcast, but I'm picking up the reins again. Y'all's fucking free ride is over. So first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to start with just some light recommendations more than news, and then pivot into news. But as far as things I'd recommend from this month, we've got The Outer Worlds is a new single-player role-playing game by Obsidian, the fine folks behind Fallout New Vegas. Technically, some of them are behind all of Fallout in general, as well as, I don't know which part of the dev team did it, but Obsidian also did the South Park Stick of Truth and the Stick of Truth game and its follow-up, The Fractured Butthole. And all those games are great. The Outer Worlds is no exception. It feels very much like Fallout, but the shooting is much more refined. The role-playing is much less constricted. I know we have a lot of friends in this group that have played like Skyrim, and have played Skyrim with very specific role-play intentions. like Keenan's...
Detective Andrea Graves.
Yes, Detective Andrea Graves, who treats... all I remember is the story... from Windhelm, where there's that whodunit thing, and Keenan just got really into it. And this entire game feels catered to that kind of playing, because I don't usually go in with a role-playing intention. I'm just like, I'm going to play the game and react the way that I would. But I'm seeing how flexible the character point allocation system is, and I'm already planning playthroughs where I am an axe murderer, kind of sneaking from planet to planet, just tearing people apart, as well as... because you get unfrozen from cryosleep in the beginning of the game. I kind of want to play a run where, because the game is about a hyper-capitalist solar system colony where late-stage capitalism and corruption have sprawled across this area, and there are no checks and balances, and everybody is like demonstrating a different broken facet of this system. And I kind of want to just be a person who has absolutely no spine. And anytime someone confronts them, I just want to find some way to be subservient to them and see if I make any progress. But the game's wonderful. The game is absolutely wonderful. The gunplay is fun. It's on Game Pass on PC and on Xbox. So if you have that, you don't have to shell out $60. You can just subscribe to that, or you can shell out $60. The campaign is actually pretty short compared to like your Fallouts and your Skyrim. So it's much easier to jump in and do a few different playthroughs. So I'm pretty excited. As far as more newsy news, following up on a story from a couple of months ago, we were given a hellish look at the fine white teeth of one humanoid, Sonic the Hedgehog, this April. And we have...
I really thought you were about to fucking murk my Unicron story. I was like, what the fuck? That's all I do here.
That's my whole thing. But Sonic the Hedgehog was given the worst Queer Eye makeover I've ever seen. And it seems as though the Fab Five have finally gotten their shit together via a leaked image of a standee at a theater that shows the potential redesign of Sonic the Hedgehog. He still does not have a single eyeball, a concession I am okay with, but everything else... he also has...
sound like he has no eyes, though.
He has two eyeballs instead of a single eyeball with two free-floating pupils. He also still has blue arms. Other than that, everything about him seems much more in line with the typical representation of this little blue boy. Waiting for some confirmation. He's a little chubbier than I'd like, and that comes because of the contrast between... There are technically three Sonic designs. You have Classic Sonic, Modern Sonic, and Sonic Boom, except Sonic Boom was a failure, so that's just kind of out there.
Boom.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Does he look like a horrible monstrosity is the real thing.
This movie looks like a modern Sonic that was made a little bit chubbier, where the classic Sonic is a little chubby, and the modern Sonic is a little more lanky with longer spikes. And it seems like in between the two, but leaning heavily modern Sonic, which you would see in your games like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Generations. I'm trying to name the Sonic games people have actually played and not the ones that are most recent that nobody's played and nobody likes.
For you.
It's a very difficult, torturous fandom. But it looks like the redesign is coming across pretty in line with what fans are asking for. And while I may not totally agree with how fans control the creative process of film in this way, it does make me wonder, because clearly they have the design chops to look at Sonic and adapt that look. What did they do before? What did they look at before and say, this is the most reasonable interpretation of it? I'm not saying that fan pressure was the right thing to happen, but I want to know the design process. I want to know what fucking horny producers stuck their dick in that Photoshop and messed it up the way they did. Anyway, that's it. I'm excited about that. And that's coming out on Valentine's Day, 2019.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Do not envy your girlfriend.
Bring your lovers to this 2019 Jim Carrey romp. So, one last piece of news I want to touch on before I throw it away over to Austin. Throw it away is not the right expression.
Yeah.
Netflix is a streaming service that most people know about.
Oh, is that new?
It is
heard of it.
now, because I said so on this news program. But they have just gotten a lot of criticism over a feature that they are testing. Now, this is a podcast. Most people listening to this will understand that this is a podcast. If you don't, You must be very confused at the moment because your radio dial does nothing.
I can't see you. How do I turn on my eyes?
Which station is this? So a lot of podcast players have the ability to adjust the playback speed of the podcast to which you are listening. I don't like this feature because as someone who edits podcasts and has edited a lot of things, a lot of thought goes into how things are timed out, the spacing you put between things, and the rate at which stuff is communicated. There's a lot of intentionality there, even if people don't realize it. That said, I understand different people have different needs. And if you have, especially like an informative podcast, you want to blast through them. Netflix is testing this feature for shows, and people are not happy.
Why don't they just not do it?
So, over the last few days, Judd Apatow, mostly known for a lot of his comedy films, Judd Apatow has gotten the most attention for his responses, basically saying, like, don't do this, don't make me get everybody in Hollywood to fight you on this. I'll fucking win, but I don't want to waste the time. And then you've also got, a myriad other celebrities, directors, Aaron Paul and such, all saying, like, this kind of spits in the face of, again, the intentionality of the people producing the thing. Netflix today, that we're recording this is October 30th, the day before Spook, and they released a statement saying that they're only testing it on phones. And apparently,
Netflix on their phone?
the terminal. I mean, I do it when I'm like moving around. I don't do it as my primary means of thing, but you can like download episodes. So for people with commutes, it's very nice to have that option.
Whoa there. Oh, commutes on like a bus or a train. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, yo, dog,
not just like holding it up while you're driving.
I've never done that. My car drives inside the lane by itself, but I don't take advantage of that feature. So the whole thing with this is that Netflix is saying they're only trying it on phones to like benefit the people who are maybe not already engaged in the most cinematic experience. I don't totally understand that argument of like, we're not doing it on big screens, only on little screens. But they're also saying that for people who have difficulty hearing or watching things in alternate languages, like I can sort of understand some of those concessions. But
like slowing it down?
Yeah, like slowing it down if you want to be able to understand it a little bit better.
Yeah.
And for speeding it up, the only thing I can think of there... Oh, no, they said that people who are, like, rewatching something a million times and want to skip certain parts. That seems like a bit of a stretch to me to say, because I get that. I rewatch a lot of stuff, but I think building that feature out just so some people can say, I don't want to see this scene in Scott Pilgrim again. This is the one fight I don't like in this movie, so I'm going to watch it a little faster. It doesn't totally ring true to me. I think that
you can already skip ahead.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the thing.
And I think it is just a way to increase the speed of content consumption to therefore increase investments. And I think that it will, if it does get pushed out broadly, I think that it will come at the cost of some of the integrity of what they are publishing. So I'm not 100% about it. I get some of the niche cases as like an accessibility thing, but this could also turn out like that downloading episodes thing. Everybody was like, we want to download episodes on Netflix. And then a month after they published it or whatever, they were like, yeah, we gave you the feature, but nobody uses it. So I don't know what you're all screaming about.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how this will work out.
I mean, I guess I get like the potential worry of like a slippery slope situation where it ends up like affecting how we view media, and then like the media makers need to conform to that, but like on the short term, why do we care if there's a feature that we all think is dumb and no one's going to use, right? Like, why does that matter, you know?
It's something I like to pay attention to. So there's another technology that a lot of filmmakers rail against, which is motion smoothing. It's a technology on televisions which cause where the digital TVs will interpolate data in between frames. So TV and movies usually play at 23.94 frames per second. And to make it look smoother, more like a real life thing or a soap opera, the TV will figure out what visual data is between those frames and maybe double it so that their motion is smoother.
I fucking hate that shit. everything just looks like weirdly fake. It's
Yes.
so weird.
And the thing is, when movies or TV shows are shot with high frame rate in mind, it's fine. Movies like Mad Max Fury Road fuck with frame rate all the time. A lot of British TV is shot at 30 frames per second or higher, and it looks fine. Again, the problem there is intentionality. When you try to present something, because so much thought and effort goes into making these things, when you alter the way that it's presented to the audience, it doesn't necessarily work. And that's true of video games, that's true of YouTube videos. I remember how excited
if the alteration is optional, that's like taking away the ability to skip things, right? Because they're like, oh, you really can't miss this part because I intended you to see this part. It's like, fuck off. Like, that's not your call anymore. Like, you made the thing. How I view it is my business.
And that's what I'm most interested in about this again, following off the Sonic thing, like, to what degree do fans have ownership over the media? I think they don't have a degree of ownership, but I think their opinion matters. But once it's in the hands of the fans, like, that's it. You did your part, creator. It is now up to them. I don't necessarily like that, but that's the truth, and I think that's the way it should be. But I do believe that if the worst case scenario of this feature happens and everybody just binges through shows on high speed, I think it will backfire in that there will be a lower investment in the shows people are watching because you'll be missing, I think, a lot of information, either objective information or just tonal stuff.
Yeah, I'm concerned about like them trying to encourage people to like blast through content like this because like, you know, binging is already a thing, and I'm sure people who really like binging shows will at least be tempted to watch it at like 1.5 times speed, so that they can like that'll increase that'll decrease the time that it takes you to finish a season of a lot of shows by quite a lot, 1.5 but like it's that if like some people like choose to miss a thing that like a part of the show, like they choose to do this and so they end up not seeing like little bits of foreshadowing or whatever, it doesn't seem like such a huge deal. But it also seems like I would be concerned if Netflix is just encouraging people to get through stuff instead of like experiencing it. Like enjoying it, watching things carefully, and like trying to do what I think is generally like actual interpretive work when you're ingesting this media. I think that's like important.
I guess it's a disturbing idea to me that some people would want to like watch it at twice the speed or 1.5 times the speed. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter for me how other people consume media unless it ends up feeding back into the way the media is then created for the future. You know what I mean? Like, if there was a big enough
I think that's part of the concern.
Yeah, where like a lot of people were watching it at high speed, so then media started making stuff that was like more catered to that, and it ended up like degrading the media over time. That's the only like slippery slope scenario that I'd see it actually mattering. But at the end of the day, it's just like, otherwise it's just like, I'm gonna judge people for doing that.
I think as long as it remains a niche use, it won't have that kind of impact. But I think that's what people are concerned about, is like, oh no, how is this going to impact the creative process even further? Because I mean, when you're dealing with making shows for Netflix gives a lot of people creative latitude, but you still got producers who are like, well, you got to do this, do things this way, do things that way, yada yada yada. So it's like one more thing, not always fun for them. But we are already broadcasting on a medium where that's possible. So have fun listening to this 30-minute episode. Anyway, Austin, your turn. What you got?
So I'm going to start out with two small things that are related and then get to a bigger thing, unless I promised more in our group chat.
I don't think you did. I think you're fine. Also, our audience is not in the group chat.
Right. Good for you guys. So I've got two stories having to do with Wizards of the Coast, which if you don't know, which you probably do, I don't know what you're doing here if you don't have like any idea what Wizards of the Coast is, not to like rag on you, but like they're pretty big for several reasons. The company that makes both Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, and also I recently learned the Transformers card game, and they still make Duel Masters. Apparently, that's a thing, but only in Japan. Didn't know that. Anyway, that's not the story. The story is first from October. Kind of a significant thing that happened is that Magic the Gathering made a bit of a splash with some promotional cards for a charity event, raising money for the Seattle Children's Hospital. Magic the Gathering released some silver bordered cards of My Little Pony characters, which is like, it's kind of a cute thing, but it's also just like a reminder that there are bronies in the community and stuff, which is like, okay, whatever.
Bronies are people too. Don't kink shame. That's not a kink. Don't pony shame. Apparently, I'm not as woke as I thought.
Anyway, yeah. So, but like, I'm not gonna talk too much about them. It's kind of a cool thing that they decided to harness bronies for charity for Children's Hospital. That's cool. And also
episode title, 100%.
Harness bronies for charity.
And also, they released three. So there are 3 silver bordered Magic cards, which is an important thing. These are not cards that are legal to use at like competitive events and stuff. They're like
the
real Magic
cards
cards.
Are too broken.
Well, not quite. They are like, I think they're thoughtfully designed for what they are. Like they are cards that you can actually play, and they can be like good in certain formats of the game, which I think is nice, because sometimes these promotional cards just end up being like entirely fluff. The entire value is like in the novelty of it, and it's cool that you can actually play with these My Little Pony characters if you're into them. And also, I mean, there's fun mechanical stuff going on. Like literally, one of the cards has an ability that requires you to do some things and then reveal a My Little Pony toy that you own to be able to do an effect, which is normally like the reveal mechanic is like you reveal a card in your hand by like turning it and showing to the other players. But here it's like you have to go somewhere in your house, pick up a My Little Pony toy, show it to the other person at the table, and then you get to do the game. I don't know. It's a fun little way to twist how the game is played that I enjoy, that doesn't like break any real rules. So that's a little thing. They got tens of thousands of dollars for the hospital, but also more. I don't have the full numbers on it because I only heard about this. It was towards the beginning of the month, and it was just like a little blip on my radar. I think more importantly and more recently, this just happened the other day from now, which will be like a couple days ago when this goes live. So a couple days ago, to you guys listening, Wizards of the Coast acquired a game developing company. They bought I think it's Tuque, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's Tuque. And they're a company that has made a lot of action RPG games. And it's sort of similar to like, you know, your sword and sorcery Skyrim type stuff. Sure, whatever. But along with this, Wizards of the Coast they announced that they're making a new D&D video game where like they have a lot of turn-based games, sort of like isometric top-down sort of Diablo-looking things. There are a couple of those that exist, but this one sounds really interesting because they want to place people into, like, you know, you take your Skyrim experience and then transport it to the world of Faerun from D&D. That sounds like it could be a pretty cool thing that happens. That could happen. It would they're gonna have to do a lot of stuff to like translate the D&D classes and abilities and spells and stuff into this sort of environment. But it seems like a really cool thing that I would be interested in, depending on
is there a name for this? Because I remember seeing ads for like a Waterdeep game. I thought it was mobile.
No, that's Heroes of Waterdeep. As far as I know, it's just like a mobile game that's kind of like a dungeon crawler type thing, but not.
Okay, yeah, that's what I got. I didn't hear. So this is a like full.
Yeah, this is a new thing that like just came out earlier this week, either Tuesday or Monday. Yeah.
Well, this is totally going to change how we record Dice Populi. That's for sure. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's cool stuff for the future. I really hope that it turns out cool and not kind of lame like a lot of the other D&D video games have when compared to the actual experience of playing D&D at a table.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something. And then last, it's Spooky Month. This is for me the big story here is that the moon's haunted.
I was waiting for some stupid shit.
Moon's haunted.
Yeah, moon's haunted. It's been, oh my god. I was around when that meme was like started to circulate like a couple years ago, and then seeing it pop back up because of the Destiny crowd is amazing. So Destiny 2 released a big expansion this past month. Which introduces reintroduces an old character, introduces an area from the original Destiny game back into the internet world. The moon. You go to the moon. The moon's full of spooky ghosts and things that you have to deal with. There's a lot. There's quite a bit of story involved in there. Also, with Shadowkeep, they're sort of bringing in their new seasonal update sort of format for how they're doing stuff. And I think there are some problems with what they've done, but like by and large, it's a huge. I think they've shaken up the game in it, one, a huge way, and two, a way that is, while not overwhelmingly positive, it is, I think, solidly positive. There are a couple balance issues and weird things that I think the game would be better off without, but overall I really like the changes that they've made, because you bring in this new area, and it also includes like they've changed up the armor system and made it more complex and like an RPG, and how you can like spec out your character to do different things.
Austin, I realized this last night because they released a patch where they fixed exotic armor before this Shadowkeep update, so that exotic armor now has specs that aren't from the previous year but are from the current update. And I logged on, and my mobility, because I was wearing Orpheus rig, my mobility jumped from like 48 to 90 because the mobility on these things is ridiculous. So that was kind of cool. No, the Shadowkeep has been amazing, and I think the season pass mechanic that you'd see in like Apex Legends or Fortnite, I think it works better in Destiny, because in Destiny there are economies that you're invested in. So, like, little rewards have much more of an impact. It's not just like I get to dress up different. It's these little tiny rewards I get for just playing meaningfully accelerate how I get to play the game. It feels good.
Which is nice. And it's also like, if you're buying into a season pass for a season, it's not just like... not that I'm familiar with Fortnite or something, but I can only imagine that it's like you get access to certain game modes and stuff, but like the story potential of Fortnite for this kind of thing seems kind of low compared to Destiny.
Yeah. Also, with Shadowkeep came new light. Destiny is now free to play.
All right.
Yes. And you get a tremendous amount of shit. I had my girlfriend start playing Destiny because she was always like, I want to play. I'm like, do you want to spend $150? She said, no. New light, you get so much of the game for free in the base content. I played through. It's kind of wild how much is free.
Yeah. And I think that's probably like a good way for the game to go, because they're trying to, good pragmatically as a business decision for Bungie, good way for the game to go, because like a lot of people are not happy with like the name of Destiny 2 in the world of gaming, just because of how it's been perceived by many as like failing to keep promises that were made at the end of like Destiny 1 in like terms of how they want to have like a good competitive environment and stuff like that, whatever. But I mean, so it seems like they're trying to make good on a lot of these things and improve the quality of the game while making it profitable for Bungie over the long term without the support and shackles of Activision, which is cool. But it's also not just in terms of Destiny, but in terms of gaming at large. I'm kind of concerned about this trend of moving games into this, turning individual games into subscription services. Because like it seems like it turns every game into this thing where like you need to play it as often as possible to get your money's worth out of it.
That's actually sorry, go ahead, continue.
Well, and I'm just concerned that this is like, it's going to it's going to turn a lot of us into like specialist gamers, where it's not like you play video games, it's like you play a video game and that's the thing that you know about and you're interested in. And like, sure, it's not like I'm out here sampling all of the games that come out, for reasons both that like I can't afford that, and also that like I am not that invested in video games as a medium overall. Like, there are things that I think I will like and I will buy them and play them, and things that I think I won't like and I will not.
Well, what I think about this, the Destiny season pass system, I think it actually moves, I think it actually steps away from that problem more than it steps towards it, because the issue with Destiny beforehand was sort of the sort of vertical integration of all the expansions, where you had to buy the base game, and then if you want to play something a year and a half later, like I want to get back into Destiny, you had to buy everything that came out in between. And they've sort of removed that. They've made it so that, one, it's free to jump in. Two, you don't have to buy the things you've missed if you don't want to. Because you're right. I think that if you feel like, hey, I've fallen behind on Destiny, I have to play so much just to keep up, they've de-emphasized leveling as an important thing. I'm hoping it goes away altogether.
Thank goodness.
But the idea is like, say, hey, Austin, do you want to play Season of the Undying? You know, the season currently happening.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm busy as fuck with school. I'll be on at the end of December. Cool. Then you don't have to spend the $10 this month. I get it feeling like a subscription, but the fact that each season will sort of have a reset button means you don't have to invest in it if you don't want to. I think that's the sort of having your cake and eating it too. I'm not saying it's the perfect solution, but it doesn't commit you to spending money that you're not going to use, and I think that is much healthier than Destiny used to be.
Fair. I think for Destiny in particular, it just seems like, to me, something that I care about in Destiny is like getting immersed in the world and seeing the lore and stuff. And I'm not sure how you get access to lore that is associated with seasonal activities if you don't buy the stuff for the season. And I know a lot of people are just like in there to shoot aliens and stuff. So like, that's not going to be a problem for everyone, but it's a problem for me. Like, it's not like I really want to give up playing Destiny for a significant amount of time anyway. I try to get on like at least once a week, even if I'm super busy, because otherwise I'm going to go crazy if I just do work all the time. But yeah, and I mean, it's not just about like Destiny's subscription service. I'm thinking about like, oh, this was another thing that's smaller that I was going to talk about, but like the way that this seems to me reflected in the way also that how Bethesda thought they could get away with like saying, okay, everybody, you want to play Fallout 76 to the highest capacity, and people are like, no, and then they're like, it's $100 a year to do it, and then they were like, what? So that's a thing.
That is not the problem Fallout 76 had to. Like, I get it. Like, here's the thing. I like the bones of Fallout 76. Mechanically, it's the best Fallout game. Which sucks because there's nothing to do, and the actual economies that support multiplayer don't work, and it's buggy as hell. But like, the basics of just interacting with the world are great, and instead of fixing those basics to the best of their ability, they did offer a solution to the problem of, oh, I want to build things in this world because the building is really fun, but it doesn't last because you log on to a different server every fucking time you play. So it fixes that problem, but for $13 a month and not fixing any of the other problems and delaying the expansion that will add in all the content.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. I want to play Fallout 76, and they're just not giving me reasons to do it.
Yeah, and I'm also like, okay, so if we're being real about it, it's not that sort of like, this kind of monthly payment is not like, it's comparable to like things that have happened before. We've had subscription services,
Minecraft Realms,
MMOs and stuff very commonly, but like that's not what people are playing Fallout for. Like, it boggles the mind just in that case. But also, I am concerned about like this movement of every kind of game to a kind of subscription service, because I am worried about like the amount of time that people have to invest in these games and how it's going to push us to become one-trick individuals with regards to games we play.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that, and I agree. Jeff, let's throw it over to you. I know that you probably don't have as many things to talk about, but what you've got is a very big and a very pricey.
Tell us about the big boy.
So do you want to hear about the big boy first or second? Because I do have one other smaller thing to talk about.
Okay, we can save the big boy for last.
I was going to say same thing. Yeah. Introduce us to the little boy.
So, yeah, the little boy I'm working with this time is a Pokemon thing, actually. This isn't like a huge story, but it's something kind of interesting that they did in their marketing that I kind of wanted to talk about. Both of my fucking stories are from like the first week of October, so they're like so long ago to me. But
yeah, I forgot that was October, actually.
I want to say it was October 4th. Pokemon did a thing to like advertise for their new game where they put out this 24-hour, in air quotes, live stream where they were, again, quote, live streaming into a forest in the new region of the Pokemon game. And it was like acting like a regular like live stream where it's just like, yeah, shit's really not going to happen that often if you just like put a camera out in the forest. So they had this like 24-hour stream where basically it was just like this ambient like forest with some mushrooms and some ambient noise going on. And then like every once in a while, and I mean every once in a while, something would show up. And like this was going for 24 hours and like stuff showed up, of course, throughout it, but only one new Pokemon was actually like shown in the entire 24 hours.
At like 17 hours.
At like 17 hours.
Is this like when people put a camera in the cages of pregnant animals at zoos? And you're like, baby's not being born right now, but you could watch the person be pregnant.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for.
That's also, what they were going for.
Jeff, you watch the Pokemon chat. You were corrected. It was on the 4th.
I remember because I was recording an episode of CGP on that day, and Chowder and I had it open during the episode. Like, Keenan is just talking, and then I'm like, oh shit, there's a boy! There's a boy, Chowder!
Oh, jeez.
Wow, that's a hell of a publicity stunt.
Yeah,
seems but not very exciting.
It's just funny because, like, at this point, like, I think the Pokemon Company and Nintendo in general has realized that, like, no matter what the fuck they do, people are going to buy the new Pokemon games. So they can just, like, go real buck wild and real memey with all of their advertising and pretty much everything. And people, like, some people are going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? But even those people still buy the game, so it, like, doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, and, I mean, even though I think that it's, like, a terrible way to advertise your game is to try to simulate, like, nature cams.
I still watched it for like 3 hours.
It just seems terrible. Like,
talk about needing to fast forward media content. Jesus Christ.
But it's something that I kind of find there's something that I kind of find charming about the whole endeavor, because like they're trying to make the Pokemon world more real to people, which is what they've been doing with like Pokemon Go, except also like stealing your data probably. But like, I don't know.
But it's just like, I love it just because, not because I actually wanted to watch it for 24 hours, but just how utterly ridiculous it is, like as an advertising move. And like, I doubt anyone was actually watching it for 24 hours.
Why would they do a publicity stunt advertising move that makes you realize how boring the concept of your franchise is? Like Pokemon is fun because you don't have to do exactly what that stream is, which is wait.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I found out last night, I believe Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise of all time. Like, across all income sources. So,
which is pretty wild considering
you are right that, like,
the same game for 20 years.
Well, I mean, but like including not just the video games, but the card games and the merchandise and the movies and the TV shows.
Yeah.
Like, I think it has made a lifetime gross of $95 billion worldwide, which is bigger than everything else ever. And their way to ride that success is just watch this grass for a little bit.
Yep.
Wild, absolutely wild. Tell us about the big boy.
Yeah, so I had an exciting first week of October because the next day, the night of October 5th, I
was trying to do remember for October, but it doesn't work.
No. So, right, just to recap, right, like the big boy Unicron fan supported new toy that is going to be the largest Transformers toy. It's over 27 inches tall. It is 19 fucking pounds. And the crowdfunding thing originally was due at the end of August it needed 8,000 backers. And then it was moved to the end of New York Comic Con, which was October 6th. And on the night of October 5th, it succeeded. It got its 8,000 backers, which was fun. And then I kept watching to see how far up that number went. And so I kept checking it periodically. It got to about 8,100 or something before I went to bed. And then in the morning, it had been changed to be, it no longer said the exact number. It just said 8,000 plus. People started wondering, how many of these were actually made? Because it might actually be in Hasbro's best interest to keep it, feeling like as a small exclusive, in terms of people selling it on the secondary market. They don't want people to think that they're going to have it, so someone actually went into the coding of the website, and basically we're not sure exactly if this is accurate, but what they did was the little progress bar that was displayed on the website, they went into the code of that and saw what percentage it said it was at. Visually on the website, it just goes to the end, but they found the percentage that it was at, and the number that they came up with was 141%. So then they did the math on that. That's
a lot. That's 11,000, 12,000?
11,280 backers, basically.
Why would they?
Big Boy did pretty well.
Yeah. It seems very...
It's interesting that they decided to hide that, right? I'm not sure.
I think you'd want to brag. Look how many people want to buy an iPhone price Transformer.
I mean, I could understand if they were concerned about how it would perform after hitting the maximum generally. If they thought 8,000 was a number that they thought they were barely going to hit, if they preemptively made it so that if it goes up, it'll just go to 8,000 plus.
But they didn't do it preemptively because
it had the specific
the number did
and then
reach,
they changed
and then
it
at some point they changed it to say just 8,000 plus.
Yeah. It's...
So I'm not, I don't know if it was just a simplicity thing for the website, or if I don't know, because I have not heard that number announced by Hasbro or any sort. They basically just said it did it, it succeeded, right? They haven't gotten into any of the specifics, because it's weird, because I don't think that they're planning to sell it again after the fact, but maybe it's for the companies the pre-orders that are going up on the Takara Mall or in the Takara Mall, right? Those were included into the backer number. So hypothetically, I guess if people could see that there was really a big surplus of them ordered, then they could figure that people are going to sell them on the secondary market and cancel their pre-orders. That's one possibility. I'm not exactly sure.
Do you think they'll get butthurt like Sony did when they made a limited edition PS4 that looks like the Xbox One and got mad when people were immediately selling them on eBay at an upcharge? They're like, this isn't why we sold you this. And they're like, I don't care, I bought it.
Yeah.
I do own this thing now.
Yeah.
Right, because we knew for a while that people were trying to buy it to turn a profit, right? Because they were smart to that, and they limited it to 5 per customer.
Yeah.
So you couldn't. Well, you still could with 4.
You could buy them, but you're not stocking shelves with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Down payment on a BMW or 5 Transformers. I don't know.
Some people are really into the fucking Transformers investment game. And it's if you have the money to do it. No, with every fan.
No, you're right. I'm thinking of somebody having a Transformers management app next to E-Trade in their phone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, a lot of people who are collectors basically collect and sell at the same time. They get stuff in their collection, and maybe there's some things they'll never sell, but they basically sell stuff that they have in their collection, and they're like, well, I'll have this to enjoy it for a little while, and then when someone buys it, I'll get money back. So I've enjoyed the thing, and it's a business that I'm running, right? So it's there are a lot of people that are sort of in it that way, so I get it, but yeah. Anyway, that's a big update. He did it.
That is a mysterious
finally die off this podcast now. All right. I've been fulfilled.
All right, now after this, 45 minutes or so of reporting, we are now as an editor's room going to try to decide what is the most important story, what is the top story of October that we think matters to our listeners and to all the geeks in the world. So we're each going to nominate a story and then try to come to a consensus about which one we think is the top story of the month. So I kind of thought I had a slam dunk with the Netflix thing, but even though I play a ton of Shadowkeep in Destiny 2, I think Austin's arguments about its implications make it a bit more impactful because whereas the Netflix thing is about how users may potentially interact with it, the Shadowkeep economy is much more about how users need to interact with the game. So I think that inherently has more impact. So I'm nominating the wonderful, if slightly flawed, update to Destiny 2 called Shadowkeep and its associated free-to-play and expansion mechanics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. This is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to just fucking say Sonic because like it's a large thing that people were like horrified about, and I'm sure it's a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah,
that's something. So I can just like throw that out there as a nomination. But you just reminded me something I didn't get to say before about Shadowkeep. You know that some balance changes or whatever. Don't care about them for the purposes of this podcast, but there was like a really funny glitch that's been happening in the raid since for the past
Garden of Salvation
week or so. In Garden of Salvation. So there was I'm gonna say some words, Jeffrey, and I'll get back to you in a minute. Colin, there's a glitch with Telesto. And it's been fixed now, where you shoot it at the ground. You can get infinite supers with it. Jeff, this means you have guns in the game that you charge up and they shoot like a fucking splooge of lasers out of them.
Right, sure.
There's one of these guns in the game that it ends up shooting out like what turns into little plasma grenades on things, if you're familiar at all with Halo or whatever. Yeah, okay.
They sticky.
So there was a glitch where this gun, if you brought it into the raid, you could shoot it at the ground a few times, then throw a grenade at the pile of grenades on the ground, explode them, and it would give you like the entire bar that like
it gave you your full ultimate basically instantly.
Super ability.
Jesus.
So, like, you could just use a little bit of ammunition to just do that shit. I don't know. Telesto has a weird history of doing things
breaking the game. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so that's the thing. I'm still throwing Sonic out there as a nomination because I feel like it should see the light of day.
Very, very true. All right, Jeffrey, what is your nomination for top story?
Definitely Netflix, I think, is the thing that mattered the most to me in that discussion. I admittedly remembered that there was a bit of information about the Unicron thing that I forgot to look up, so I was not listening to the most of the Shadowkeep thing.
But that's fair.
But,
it's the thing that affects you the least, maybe. All right, well, we just have
true.
3 totally different votes. How are we
gonna? Not a single person is nominating fucking Unicron. He made it, guys. The Chaos Bringer is coming. I have integrity. I can't.
He'll win
myself,
Story of the Year. How about that? We'll nominate him for
him.
Story of the Year in December. Okay.
Well, yeah, We'll bring it back up in 2021 when the thing actually arrives.
So, as much as I love my boy Sonic, I'm more inclined to lean towards to the Netflix nomination because next to Destiny, I think it is the most impactful, story that we brought, if not the most interesting.
Even if it's not the most impactful,
my vote would go to Netflix, but my vote would go to Shadowkeep. Still, I think Netflix. I'll take it. I'm not gonna fight for this one. It's a big thing to just say, hey, you watch this at blinding speeds now.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
I don't even. I don't even know if it's going to end up being impactful, like if the way I'm interpreting it is right, but I don't know. It's an interesting discussion about like whether or not we should give a shit about how other people.
I think that's exactly what I mean by impactful is how does it stir the pot, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess reluctantly, the Netflix speed play experiment is the top story of October, and a lot of shit happened this month too. And most of the stuff I wanted to talk about was just like shouting stuff out, like Outer Worlds. Letterkenny season 7 happened, and it was awesome.
Something I don't know. You seem to think that Outer Worlds has a lot of replayability, but I've also seen like some very middling reviews, some from people who say that it feels like Outer Worlds. It seems like it's very polished, but like it doesn't have a lot of character as an Obsidian game. Like they expect it to do like a little bit more to distinguish itself mostly from other classic RPG type things.
I think that has to do more with the scale of the game. It is very polished, but it seems much smaller than a Fallout 4 or a Skyrim.
Yeah.
It kind of tricks you because you can travel between planets in the system, so different places feel more unique, but it's definitely not as big. After 12 hours of recorded gameplay on the highest difficulty setting, where I can't save my game manually, I have reached the end of the main quest in 12 hours, which, if you compare that to a Fallout game, that's nothing. And I was not like just maining through it. I was doing some side stuff too. I don't know. All the critics' reviews have been great, and I tend to agree with everything that they've said. I'll probably report back next month after I've had a chance to do another playthrough. Also, Adventure Zone Graduation got announced. I was at the live show.
Yeah.
I was at the live show where they announced it, and so the Apple Watch now checks the ambient volume of a room, and when it said Taz Graduation on the screen, my watch was like, "It is 109 decibels of screaming in here. You should leave the room."
Please go.
Yeah, but Travis is DMing another D&D campaign.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
I hope he does well, because during the live show, the one where he was doing the
Dust,
the
Adventure
Ballad
Zone
of
Dust.
Bigfoot.
Oh,
he was,
yeah.
not doing any of the accents, and I'm just like, oh, dog, I hope you have some accents for when you're. I don't remember how Dust went. Honestly,
having seen him live in 2 shows, which I talked to Laura about on How You Doing next week, but because I got to go see with her and with my girlfriend, I saw different shows. But his energy on stage is like, it comes across much more clearly than the others. And the audio, I don't always notice it as much, but he commands that stage, and that's actually very fun. But no, that'll be very cool. I loved Adventure Zone Dust that he DM'd. That was my favorite of their experimental works.
I just like the idea of this
favorite.
new one, like very much. I'm so down with this the premise of this campaign.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
It's just like Sky High, right? But
kind of, yeah, with fantasy
D&D.
stuff. Yeah. October was like a weirdly crowded month. A lot of fun stuff, but
spooky.
Yeah, spooky indeed. This is coming out day after Halloween, so the spook will have passed, and people will already be putting up their Christmas trees.
Excuse me, Colin. Dia de los Muertos will still be going on, so check yourself.
The second time that my wokeness has been challenged in this very episode. Thank you so much for listening. That about wraps it up for the Common Briefing program. I have been Colin Ketchen, and I still am, actually. You can find me online at SonicColinK. Allegedly. So I'm joined by...
Me, Austin. See you next month. I still don't have like a place where you can find me on the internet. That's the way life is right now.
I'm Jeff. Who knows if you'll see me next month? I think unless something pops up, I'm going to take a month off now that the Unicron trilogy, quadrilogy has concluded.
Well, you are also now working on a new little video thing for us. That's pretty fun. The pilot, the sort of rough draft stuff is out there, but I think it's a very fun idea. What's that?
So on our YouTube channel, the CGP YouTube channel, I released a video where Pat and I made a fake quiz, or no, it was a real quiz. I made a quiz of real and fake Transformers names, because if you don't know, there's a lot of like batshit stupid crazy Transformers names that they, have titled the toys throughout the years. So I made a little quiz of real and fake Transformers names and had him had him guess which ones were the fake ones.
This is very funny.
I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. There's, as always, there's kinks that I want to work out and make it shorter and make it easier. But I'm pretty proud of how the first one turned out, and Colin and I are going to record another one next week, so that should be coming along.
I think that'll be pretty fun. So Real or Fake, that's going to be on our YouTube. We also have 2 other podcasts. One I do called How You Doing with my friend Laura, where we just try to catch up because we don't ever see each other anymore. But last month, we saw each other, and there's a big, long recording of me at the zoo for the first time in my life.
And then you caught each other up on the activities that you had together?
I went to a zoo for the first time in my life, and we discovered some really trashy geese, and it was one of the happiest moments of my life. We also have a D&D based show called Dice Populi. You can find all that at commonggeekingprogram.com. I kind of want to wrap it up. I think that's good. Either of you have anything else?
No, I might try to go play some Destiny, actually, if you're going to get on, but that's not, like, news.
True. Okay, well then I'm gonna wrap it up, and we will talk to you all next month with a new Common Briefing program, first Friday of every month. On the third Friday, Jeff is gonna bring you a Common Geeking program where we look at a single item of geek culture in depth. So that'll be all. Thanks for listening, and talk to you soon.
Bye all.
Bye.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Could you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop recording.
This episode of the Common Geeking program is hosted by me, Colin, and I was joined by Austin Liebers and Jeff Leavitt, returning correspondents. This episode is sponsored by naps. I just took one, and I'll probably take another one right now. The podcast is created and produced by Colin Ketchen and Jeff Leavitt, with this episode edited by me, featuring original music also by me. We will be back in 2 weeks with an episode, I believe, about Spy Kids Trilogy, which is going to be great. And we have new episodes of How You Doing and Dice Populi coming out next week. So be sure to take a listen to both of those. Tune in for the next episode of this and more geek news the first Friday of December. Tune in then, and thank you for listening to this. All right, let's clap. I looked at my thing right at 4:20. Let's clap at 4:35, just because I don't want to
sounds good.
surprise you guys.
Sounds
5 seconds.
Pretty spicy to me, boys.
I'm feeling spicy.
I feel like I was late, and you guys happened after I did.
It's fine.
I happened on time, but it sounded like I happened first. So that's how lag works.
I'm a little too tired to really try to parse that statement, so I'm going to jump right in. Hello, one and all, and welcome.